Your engine is shaking like a wet dog at a stoplight, your fuel economy is disappearing right before your eyes, and your vehicle feels like it is running on 3 legs instead of 4 as you struggle to gain speed. When you pull a code P2307, your powertrain control module is warning you about a high voltage condition in the primary control circuit of ignition coil C. For those of you who might be new to this, modern cars use a coil on plug system, or COP, where each cylinder has its own dedicated high-voltage powerhouse sitting right on top of the spark plug. The primary circuit refers to the low-voltage wiring that supplies battery power to that coil through a network of fuses and relays. When the computer tries to trigger a spark but detects that the voltage on that specific line is way too high, it realizes the coil cannot fire the spark plug correctly. To protect your very expensive catalytic converter from being melted by raw unburned gasoline, the PCM will often disable the fuel injector for that cylinder entirely. This is why your car feels gutless and vibrates so violently. One of the most common and frankly annoying causes for this code that we see is actually damage from wildlife. In colder months, mice and squirrels love to climb on top of warm engine blocks and chew through the soy-based wire insulation, creating electrical shorts that send voltage levels through the roof. Get a bright flashlight and meticulously inspect the wiring harness going to coil C, looking for tiny teeth marks or exposed copper. If the wiring looks pristine, you need to grab your digital volt-ohm meter and check for battery voltage and a solid ground at the coil connector while the engine is cranking. If you have solid power but the computer is not sending that quick ground pulse to fire the spark, you might be looking at a failed driver inside the PCM itself, which is a much bigger headache. However, before you panic about a dead computer, always check your ignition relays and fuses under the hood. A blown fuse or a crusty, sticky relay can mimic these symptoms perfectly. A great trick is to swap the coil from cylinder C with a neighboring one to see if the code follows the part. If the code stays on cylinder C, you know for a fact the problem is in the wiring or the computer logic.